Let's talk about overthinking. You've ever had one of those nights where you just can't switch off? Where you spiral down all the what ifs and whys, only to get more and more anxious and even depressed. In this video you're gonna see how you can stop this constant overthinking, why overthinking is ruining your life, and how ignoring this problem can cause extreme stress, unhappiness, and even hurt your relationships, job chances, and health. But to fix this constant overthinking, we need to check first what causes it in the first place, and why you should never try your best when you want to achieve your goals. It was the summer of '94 and all eyes were glued to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. In the World Cup final between Brazil and Italy, the teams met to a penalty shoot-off. Brazil already scored 3 times and led over Italy with 3-2. And all eyes and hopes were now on the 20-year-old star of the Italian team, Roberto Baggio. You could have cut the air with a knife while Baggio ran towards the ball, kicked, and missed the goal. By a lot. In that second, Brazil became world champion, and Italy now has the saying, Socrates died poisoned, Baggio died standing. You probably can sympathize with Baggio and all the tension he must have gone through. But I noticed something similar between Baggio's wish to hit that goal and people that miss their goals in life because of overthinking. You've ever noticed how unconsciously you breathe? Sorry to make you aware of that. And when we focus our attention on the breath, it becomes hard and weird to actually maintain a rhythm. Or I remember when I was a self-conscious teenager and I was standing at a traffic light and the cars were lined up and waiting so I can cross the traffic light. When my lights turned green and I needed to cross the street, I felt watched and judged by the people in the cars. So much that I tensed up and I forgot how to walk. Every step I did felt weird and probably made the people in the cars notice that, which led exactly to the thing I wanted to prevent, being awkward and judged. In the 1980 release book Maximum Performance, the authors talked to athletes that broke records and found out that these athletes almost always broke the records when they weren't trying. Because when they were trying to break the record, they were thinking, calculating, catastrophizing, and as a result they were overcompensating by overthinking and used too many muscles. Like you are using too many muscles when you want to breathe consciously, or when I forgot how to walk, or Baggio when he needed to do the one kick he probably practiced for the majority of his 27 years. It's like what my good friend Alan said over 50 years ago. What would you do if I say to you, take a hard look at me? With your hard look, you're straining your muscles around your eyes and you're starting to stare. What's that got to do with seeing? Nothing. The light will come to you. Tensing up your muscles around your eyes to see something. It's the same as concentrating on your walking when you just want to cross the street. When you tense your muscles, you want to control every minute detail to achieve your goal. You try to do your best, and by that you tense up and you will not reach it. And that's practically what overthinking is. And we will now have a look into how you can stop it. Imagine that your mind is this bowl of water. And this food coloring are your pleasant thoughts, your memories of the day on the beach, your first kiss, your achievements, things that make you happy. And now imagine that this is your self-doubt. Do they like me? I can't stop thinking about that comment. Did I overreact? Did he understand that I tried to make a joke? Should I clarify the situation, or would that make me look weird and insecure? And would that insult him? I shouldn't have said anything in the first place. The next time I just won't make a comment and I will just be quiet. But then people will think that I'm not fun to be around with and that I'm weird. Do you see how overthinking clouds your thinking and makes you forget all your unique and good qualities? But how can we stop to make the beautiful and blue water clouded with soil? Just stop. And I know what you now think.
That's too easy. I tried to stop my overthinking once and it did not last. It always comes back, so that's a stupid advice.
I'm with you. Doing it sporadically will not work. Instead, you have to make your overthinking conscious. It's like 100 years ago, my good friend Carl said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. That was my Swiss accent. To stop your unconscious overthinking, simply put your awareness just for one day on your thoughts. And then say loudly in your head, stop.
Stop.
To every thought that does not serve you or that you do not like. And then replace it with a more serving thought, like, I am loved. All is well. I am safe. And in the following days, stop similar thoughts too. You will create a habit that these thoughts are not welcome anymore, and you smoothly replace them with a feeling that all is well. Psychology calls it cognitive behavioral therapy. You change your habits through consciousness. Did you actually know that overthinking in its severe form is no joke and can cause a lot of harm? So let's dive in to see how you can once and for all calm your mind so you can think clearly. But first, look at what easy shift we can make right now to get the upper hand over overthinking. You're probably familiar with this statue, the thinker, an old man sitting on a rock thinking. But what many people don't know is that this statue is also part of the sculpture called Gates of Hell, where the thinker sits on top and the sinners below him who are suffering in Dante's interpretation of hell. The statue represents a man lost in deep thoughts. In life we like to think that thinking gives us the security we need to start, so that we are perfectly prepared for all eventualities and no one ever can reject us or hurt us or make fun of us. But in reality we are just sitting in front of the gates of hell. And we are inflicting that suffering on ourselves while the clock runs faster and faster until the time runs out and we regret all the time we spend in excessive overthinking. It's like my good friend Mark said 150 years ago. I am an old man and have known a great many troubles, most of which never happened. That was me trying a southern accent. What we should do instead is make these troubles happen, that we can regret them in the future. And spoiler alert, we will never regret them. In the last decade, I coached men to overcome their fear in talking to women. And the main thing they always said in the beginning was, what if? What if she rejects me? What if everyone will see that? What if I get in trouble then? They created a worst case scenario that was so drenched in fear that they could only act like a mouse hiding from a cat, even though the danger was only in their head because they haven't talked to that woman yet. A credo I live by is, it's either a win or a funny story I can tell. And this will already help you a lot with your overthinking. But to take care that you stop the overthinking before it arises, we have to look at this. There's a scene in How I Met Your Mother where Barney lost a bet and he can't decide if he wants to have 10 slaps now or 5 in the future at any given point. Barney thought he was smart to choose the 5 in the future instead of the 10 now. But then he lived in constant fear and anticipation of the slaps, to a point where he begged to be slapped so it would be over. It's like my good friend Seneca said 2000 years ago. Worst in war is the very fear of war. That was an ancient Roman accent. The anticipation and fear of being hurt made it a torture for him. By a constant life in fear, we torture ourselves to a point where we beg to be released by a final blow, just not to suffer anymore. We are afraid about the future. And at the same time, we regret our decisions in the past that led to this point. There was a monk called Hiroshi that was not really known for his peace, but for his worrying. What if I can never stop this worry? Will I ever be a good monk? Frustrated, he wandered one day down to the river, as he usually did. And as he usually did, he threw some stones in it to distract himself. When he noticed that the river flowed at its pace, no matter when, how hard, or if at all, Hiroshi flipped some pebbles in it. The river did not tense up in anticipation of him throwing a stone, nor did it beat itself down for letting a stone sink to its bottom. It just flowed. At peace. Overthinking can make us feel worried and scared, which is called anxiety. Overthinkers create a multiverse of possible outcomes to a scenario, to a point where they are completely overwhelmed how the future will be and what they should do. But overthinkers also can spiral down into depression. While anxiety is worrying about the future, depression is being stuck in the past. But when you are at peace, you're living in the now. I'm gonna be a bit spiritual now, but stay with me. There's actually no such thing as the future. It's just anticipation, wishes, hopes, dreams, fears that tomorrow will look like this. And there's also no past. Last Thursdayism is the theory that the world came into being last Thursday, with all its rich history, with all the buried dinosaurs, with your memories, with your heartbreaks, and with your stories. You cannot disprove it. And that's what's so fascinating about the past. It only exists in our minds. Every moment you have the power to say, this is not how the story will end. To get into the present, focus on anything in the here and now. Like an object. The tense feeling in your body caused by overthinking. Or simply your breath. But wait a second. Even if you are aware of your overthinking now and how to stop it, how do you actually use it and become the most confident version of yourself? Because if you can't be that, then none of this we were talking about is going to work. But good news, there are actually 3 things you can copy from Keanu Reeves that make people instantly respect you, even if you're introverted and shy. So click the next one and make people fall in love with you fast.